1, 2,
3,
4,
5,
6, 7,
8,
9,
10.
11.
Hi, my name's Chris Regi, and I'm here to talk to you about people receiving welfare and not being drug screened beforehand. A lot of people believe that it is their Fourth Amendment right to not get drug screened before receiving welfare checks, but I believe that they should be drug tested before. And people believe this because the Fourth Amendment gives you the right against illegal search and seizures. And personally, I believe that getting drug tested before receiving the state's money or the government's money is not considered illegally searching and seizuring. Um, Personally, I know that I get drug tested before I receive my checks at work. Not every check, but before I got my job, I had to take a drug test and pass it, and it's a lot of ways. It's like that with a lot of different companies, and I don't think it's fair that I had to take a drug test to receive a check, and they don't have to take a drug test to receive a check that has my money in it. Because if I don't know if you guys know this, but if you work and get a check and get taxes taken out, those taxes go towards paying for people in need, such as on welfare. So money is getting taken out of your check that you had to take a drug test for and going towards people who don't have to take drug tests and are actually using that money towards things that they don't need or drugs. Um, an example of or people using things or using the welfare money for things they don't need, non-necessity items, would be cigarettes. And I actually have a story. There was a lady who worked at a convenience store, and a man with a welfare card came in to buy cigarettes. She denied him, and he turned away and went home. The next day, he came back for the same item, a pack of cigarettes, but this time he came with a family member. And once she turned him down again, this family member got upset and asked for the manager. And the manager came out and sold him the pack of cigarettes, and then continued to fire the lady for not selling him the pack of cigarettes the day before. And personally, I believe that if my money is being given to someone to help them pay for necessity items, then it should not be able to go towards cigarettes. Cigarettes are not a necessity, they are a luxury. And I'd rather see my money go towards paying for another family or paying for a baby or something. Um, Not only are people using these things for non-necessity items such as cigarettes, but they're also using them for illegal items such as drugs. And my money that is getting taken out of my check that I had to get drug tested for should not be going towards others supporting someone else's drug habits, especially if they can't even support themselves to feed them or something that they're on welfare. Um, and an easy solution to this, I feel, would just be to start drug screening before receiving welfare. Not before receiving every welfare check, but just as you hand in your application, in order to get passed, I feel that you should be able to pass a drug test as well. This has actually been tried before, and one state that tried this was Florida, and it actually failed in Florida, and it failed very quickly because one of the first cases they got of turning someone down, this individual took them to court, and surprisingly enough, this individual won the court case against the state of Florida, claiming that the drug test was in violation of his Fourth Amendment right of illegal search and seizure. So what Florida did to try to get around this was, on part of their application for welfare, they had a box that said, "Have you taken drugs in the past 6 months?" And if you checked yes, you got drug tested, and if you checked no, you didn't. This made it very easy to lie and get around the system. Because how many people are going to come right out and tell the government that they've taken drugs in the past 6 months? So a lot of people just checked no and skated right through the system. And then if you did check yes, they went as far as allowing you to set up your own drug test appointment. So they gave you time to get clean. So people would check yes and then set up their drug test a month away so that they can have a month to get clean. And this completely backfired on Florida because they dumped over $200 million into drug screening before welfare, and didn't even receive a third of it back because of the amount of people that either checked no to that box, or when they checked yes, passed their drug test because it was so far set off. So there are states have tried this, but I don't think that they've tried it as well as they could, even though it was considered against their Fourth Amendment right. I believe that if you were to drug test people before their welfare checks, that it would severely cut down on the amount of people who are using drugs, and to give more money to the people who actually need the welfare, to the people who are using the welfare for good reasons, such as feeding their kids or putting a roof over their head. So people don't need the money for drugs. Drugs is a habit that they need to kick, and I'm not willing to keep paying for, and neither should you guys. And as an individual, what you could do is you could go out, and when you see people that are against this, you could just tell them, listen, you're paying for this. You're paying for these people to do drugs, and you shouldn't be. And I believe that there's ways to get around this. And also, as an individual, I believe that if you were to become knowledgeable on ways to do it legally, but still effectively, so that people can't just skate through the system, but they still have to take a drug test, I believe that it can be effective and will save a lot of money and a lot of people's lives. Thank you.
1, 2,
3, 4, 5,
6, 7,
8,
9,
10,
11.